This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Okay, I don't have an answer, and it's 6:02. So I think what we'll do is we will just start, and hopefully Laura will be able to meet us. Okay. All right. So first thing we're going to do is roll call in. Mayor
LaChapelle here.
Maren,
Maren Goldstein here.
Megan
Harvey here.
Ben
Hersey here.
Sarah
Hunter here.
Cindy Kuzinski here, and hopefully Laura Scott will be able to make it soon. Okay, so a couple of quick announcements. The first announcement is that on the agenda is an executive session. We will not be having an executive session. That was put there in case we needed it, and we do not need it. So there is none for tonight. The second one is that I'd like to begin before we welcome our new superintendent. We need to say goodbye to Dr. LeClaire, who could not make it, but also to Sarah Mochek. So I thought first I would say thank you to Dr. LeClaire, and then let anybody else throw anything in that they would like to. And then I'd like to have us thank Sarah Mochek. Sarah will be leaving for a really excellent job with the Department of Education. It's actually DESE, so elementary and secondary education. So that is a really cool thing. So let's start with Dr. LeClaire. Dr. LeClaire just recently retired. She saw us through some really, really hard years with a calm head and perseverance. We did some nice negotiation with the unions and got through some contracts. We survived the COVID period, the shutdown and the reopening. And that was a very stressful, high pressure stoppage and a high pressure comeback. So Dr. LeClaire showed great leadership and calm in a storm. So I really wanted to thank her for that. I also want to thank her for always dotting her I's and crossing her T's. She absolutely makes sure that every detail is taken care of. She's not someone who forgets a lot of items that have to be done. So you could really trust her to see us through on all the details. So I just want to thank her. And even though she's not here, I want to say I hope she has a really incredible retirement and enjoys it. I have a funny feeling she's going to do something else because I don't think she's someone who's just going to sit. So my personal thank you is thank you for the support, the conversations, the inclusion, and all the hard work. And then I'm going to open it up to anybody else. Maren?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that I was very thankful to bring her on board as our superintendent for a number of years. I think, again, you've listed off a number of the key challenges that we've had to work with as a whole school committee. And that, again, she really did come in and offer some calm, clear leadership through it. And so definitely want to thank her for that. The other piece that one of the few things you didn't mention was we also built a new school in that time period. And she was involved deeply in sort of helping work with that team and all those of us on the building committee, but also everything from picking colors to going out and seeing other schools to make sure that what we finalized as our new school at Mountain View School is the best that it could be. And so I just think that there's an incredible amount of diligence. Doesn't mean we always agree on every single detail, but it means that she brought that vision and calmness to the leadership of this committee and the department to bring us through a lot of challenging years and a lot of big challenges that none of us knew or could even have envisioned were on the horizon before they happened. So I will definitely think we need to thank her very much for that and wish her all the best in what does come for her.
Hey, Sue, before we go on, I'm not able to get this recording. Are we recording? And I know Easthampton Media is here. I know you're here to take minutes, but we usually just as a technology backup, and I'm not able to turn that on.
I have no idea. It's not something that I do. Can anyone else assist?
I've started
you?
recording.
There you go. Now I see it. Was that the mayor who did that?
Yes.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So great. Anybody else? Go ahead, Megan.
Cindy, we lost your video too.
I know. I
Okay.
just turned it back on.
Attempt to record.
I was playing around with buttons trying to find it, and I accidentally clicked myself off.
Okay. I just also wanted to, as a newer member of the committee in my first term, it's been a pleasure to work with Dr. LeClaire. I think it's clear that she and I didn't always agree necessarily, but I have to say, I've on multiple occasions thought this is a person who is incredibly professional and unflappable, which is exactly what you want in the superintendent of a district in these crazy times. So I learned a lot from her. It was a professional relationship with a ton of respect. I respect her a great deal, and I'll miss her. I'm excited to have our interim superintendent, but Dr. LeClaire, I will miss working with you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I mean, I'll just add in a lot of what I would say has been said already, but one of the couple of things that really stood out would definitely be the steady hand, non-flappable sort of leadership, but also what I perceive to be like over the time of her role as superintendent, I perceived her to grow. She was willing to listen and hear some of the concerns that were happening for parents, and I certainly had a similar sort of set of disagreements with her early on, but it was really impressive to me that she would take time to hear what you had to say, hear your concerns. There's only certain things that she could do, but like that's great too. She was willing to hear you out and take on what you had going on. So I definitely appreciate what she did, and it was inspiring to watch her make it through, help us get through the COVID, years. So thank you, and I hope you go on to something even more exciting and thrilling and challenging, maybe a little less chaotic and insane. So.
Well,
I would just like to. Go ahead, Sarah.
well, I was just going to say, I also really appreciated her vision and how her vision was always kind of in line with our strategic plan, and kind of any conversation that you had with her went back to that plan and went back to that vision. And that's something that I think is a good sign of leadership, but also like a good quality in somebody who can lead a community that doesn't always agree on everything. And so I appreciated that, and I've kind of tried to emulate that myself to some degree. So it was good to have that as an example, and I really appreciated working with her professionally in like such a short period of time, but then also just as a parent, during the pandemic and my son's first year of school, in the district, it was really helpful to have her there. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I would just like to, Dr. LeClaire came in the middle of a school building project and at the beginning of construction, and she brought her admin team together and included more folks to really deliver a project in a building that the community had been talking about for 5 to 7 years beforehand. And she really didn't drop the ball in the face of so many other things going on. And while I probably agree with Cindy that she's not a person to just sit, I hope she does and is on a beach or next to a pond or a river or whatever her favorite body of water is. And she's reading great book, and she's got her feet up.
That sounds good. It's my hope too, but I have a feeling she's at least going to do a little something. It's kind of hard to just stop completely. Okay, so now Sarah Mochuk is leaving. Her last day is Friday, so really anybody who wants to do an extra well wish for her, she's here till Friday. I'm going to miss her. I think that she did a stellar job of providing services, special ed services, and I know how hard it is to balance the needs of special ed with just trying to, everything changes in special ed on a yearly basis, and sometimes in the middle of the year, mandates and guidelines change. And Sarah was knowledgeable and always on top of the next change, the next mandate, and what services needed to change and be provided. She's also a nice person. So she's a nice person. And it's really, I think there's going to be a big gap. Those are hard shoes, big shoes to fill. And we're going to do our best to do a great job filling those shoes, but she will be missed. And she's been here for a very long time, very dedicated to this district. So I'm really happy I got a chance to talk to her for a little bit, and I got a chance to find out kind of about her new job. And I think that it's going to be something exciting and fulfilling for her. So I'm really happy for that, because when you get something that you just get to keep growing and getting stronger and enjoying it at the same time, you know, that's great. Then you're not working, you're just going to work. So I thank you, Sarah. I know you're here, and I thank you very, very much for your service. And I will be quiet and let everybody else say goodbye.
I really appreciated Sarah working, as Cindy said, at a moment's notice with Allison and principals as new needs came up for students, especially in the face of COVID. There seemed to always be a constant dialogue on the top floor as parents were bringing forward concerns or had questions. Those are really difficult balls up in the air to balance. And I admire all of your efforts there, and I wish you well in your next professional endeavor.
Ben?
I've never had a chance to work with Sarah that much, like one-on-one or with like my son's educational plan or anything like that. But one of the cool things about Sarah Mochuk is that like her name rings out with a certain kind of like power. Like whenever people talk about Sarah Mochuk, it's like, you know, talk to Sarah Mochuk, or like she did this, she did that. Like the stories that come forward about the work that she does in the district, almost all the time we're like, okay, I'm so glad this person is here. At least we have like this kind of stability. So I'm glad that something new is on the horizon. But thank you for the time and the dedication to Easthampton. I think a lot of people would agree that it's been a pretty great run.
Yeah, I just want to add too that I think that Sarah has done an incredible amount of work here. She has been here for a long time and really has seen our special education program through a lot of ups and downs, challenges where the lack of funding to our department really impacted the vision and the desire for special education to sort of excel. And she did the best she could at every sort of turn, and has also sort of revamped the program in the last few years in a way to try to really keep improving. So, you know, for someone who's been in the job for a number of years, I think it's easy sometimes for those type of people to sort of sit back and just sort of glide. And that's not the type of person Sarah was. She was always looking at ways to make improvements and really sort of seek the best services that we could achieve in our district for our students. And that's really, a real appreciation to Sarah for constantly doing that and constantly looking out for us and for our students. So thank you to Sarah very much for all the hard work and all the best wishes as you're headed off to DESE.
Sarah? Think you were next.
Yeah, I'm just still trying to figure out the hand raising here. I just really, I've been on the school committee for a short period of time. But prior to that, I have been the parent of a child with a disability in the district for the last few years. And one of the things that I've always really appreciated about working with Sarah is that, you know, the job of the special education director is can be so, there can be so much conflict in terms of trying to do the thing that's the right thing for every student, alongside trying to do the thing that is kind of in line with our budget and what's available to us, and making sure that kids get that free and appropriate access to public education, but also making sure that access is equitable and that all students are able to access that. And I have always been really impressed in working with Sarah about how well she can balance those needs and keep what's ultimately needed by each student at the center of every conversation. You know, as a parent, there have certainly been times where I've asked for a lot, and I never felt like there was ever, I never felt like my child was being kind of pitted against anybody else or against the budget, or, you know, I felt like we've always been able to work together in good faith with each other. And I really, really appreciate that, because I know that's not the case everywhere. And so I think I'm really sad that you're leaving, Sarah, but I'm so glad that you're going to be at DESE. Like, we really need somebody with your perspective and values and, you know, experience at DESE. And I think that I was so happy to hear that. So I'm so happy for that, and sad to see you go. But I think the way that she has structured the program in Easthampton around the students specifically, I'm hoping that and I know that culture is going to remain here, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'll wrap us up. I'll have the pleasure of being on I don't know if pleasure is the right word, but we were on the COVID advisory group together. We got through it. Just like with Dr. LeClaire, I just was so impressed by Sarah's steady leadership, and something that we kept coming back to. You know, I'm the epidemiologist. I kept saying, well, what about this? And what about that sort of thing? And the air quality? And what about the community rates? And Sarah Motek always brought it back to the kids, always. Okay, but the community, you know, our kids don't have a responsibility for this. We have the responsibility to our kids, and she kept that forefront. I'm really sorry to be seeing you go. I had fun chatting with you, especially when we were done with the COVID advisory group. We didn't have to worry about that anymore. Congratulations, but gosh, I'll miss you. But we have the Springfield College connection, so, you know, see you at baseball games.
Excellent. Excellent. So, Sarah, thank you so much. Thank you for all your work. We really will miss you. But we hope you enjoy it. And I do agree, DESE is a good spot for Sarah Motek. All right. Thank you. Okay. So now, do we have any correspondence?
I have just one correspondence to report. We heard from Bonnie Harrison from Easthampton, a member of our community, who wrote to us urging the school committee, parents, and the community in general to support Bill S246H495 to eliminate the MCAS graduation requirement in Massachusetts. She wrote us a really thoughtful email with some information about this bill and the purpose of the bill, and also letting us know about some local school districts that have also supported this bill. And that's the only one that I see.
Okay. Do we have any gifts?
We do apparently have a gift. See, I have to pull my other screen up. It's sort of that joke about how many browsers can you have open, or how many, not browsers, how many screens can you have open? Okay. So we apparently received a donation of plants for our graduation stage. Is there more to say about that before I make a motion for us to accept it?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if there was I'm sure those who were at graduation saw and enjoyed that. So I make a motion to approve the generous donation of plants for the graduation stage from Carolyn Scheel of Scheel Farms.
Second.
Okay. Mayor,
Mayor LaChapelle, yes.
Maren,
Maren Goldstein, yes.
Megan,
Megan Harvey, yes.
Ben,
Ben Hersey, yes.
Sarah,
Sarah Hunter, yes.
and Cindy Kuzensky, yes. And the only thing I would say about that is that I've been to Scheel's Farm. I go all the time to buy my flowers there, and they're beautiful. So giving beautiful, high quality flowers is a pretty awesome way to decorate for graduation. So I thank you very much. All right. So now comes the time when we welcome our interim superintendent. So we have Maureen Benenda, who started immediately. I think I saw you the first day, and you were there immediately, meeting with the mayor and meeting with people and finding out exactly what you needed to do. And so you hit the ground running, which was really nice. And I had a chance to do some talking and catching up and kind of getting a feel for what Maureen might need. And boy, you had lots of questions, but you also had lots of answers. And you had lots of things you were already on top of. So I welcome you, and it's very nice. I think it's going to be a very balanced year.
Good, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else want to say anything before we move on? Besides hello.
Welcome. Glad to have you.
Okay. All right. So one of the things we wanted to do with this first meeting is just give you an idea of the kinds of things that we see as our goal for the district for this year. What we would like you to look at and, use your energy and your expertise on. So I'm going to open that up to everybody else and let them talk about what their vision and goals are for Ms. Benenda. Okay, Mayor LaChapelle.
I'm sure folks on the call, my colleagues, will have tons of suggestions. But one thing I'd really like to see done is a deep dive on our enrollment numbers. The recent numbers posted on DESE's website surprised me as far as high school numbers and totals down to 370. And I know that the numbers will be reassessed in October, but as we're talking about the budget of our district and also the efforts we're making, I'd like to follow up of where and what do we have, don't we have, or why are the reasons why students don't stay with us pre-K to 12. I think we need to know that as we assess things going forward.
I like that. Who's next? Anybody else? Go ahead, Megan.
I had 2/3 goals that I had written down that I wanted to bring up. One is about communication and sort of feeling of connectedness within our community. We have, in the move to the new school, and just, after a couple of years of remote learning and all the sorts of things that we've gone through, I would love to see community building, good communication, things like easy to digest information that comes out regularly or that's predictable. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but I know that this community loves Easthampton schools and wants to be involved and wants to know what's going on. So that's really high on my list. I also, and this is sort of connected, I would love to see some more chances for parents to get together and talk, parent forums. I'm not sure exactly what that looks like either, but I would love for parents to feel like, above all else, their voices are being heard. Not everything can be, as we know, not every single thing can be addressed right away or at all, but, I really want parents to feel like we're as invested, the district's as invested in them as they are in us. And the other thing that I have been thinking a lot about is just sort of supporting our teachers and administrators the best that we can. I think we've done a great job with that, but, looping them into that communication and community building and just really feeling like it's the hub of our community is what I would love to see.
If I can piggyback on a couple of things that have been said, I think that as the finance chair, I think obviously the budget and how those different things relate, and to what Mayor LaChapelle just mentioned in terms of enrollment, if enrollment is dropping down after we review that, I mean, those are opportunities for us to open up for choice and to be able to make those determinations. So a lot of sort of keeping that vision about what can we do to retain our students if that's the issue, or also to recognize if there are opportunities to open up our spaces. We've sort of held that tight due to COVID and the transition to the new school. But if there are opportunities for us to open that up and bring in new students and for us, our district, to earn additional funds through choice, as bad as the program is overall, we should at least still be involved with that and opening that up is appropriate. I think also the other that Megan just mentioned, I mean, we all recognize that the last few months has been some additional trying elements in terms of communication and in terms of our community and how we are seen within our community and the work that we're doing. There's so much incredible work that's being done by our students, by our staff, by our administrators. And I think it's always an opportunity to bring highlights to that. We've done that through inviting groups to our meetings to be able to present, or just simply, getting the word out about events that are happening at our schools, and just sort of making sure that all those wonderful things that are happening are being highlighted. We don't need to just get into some of the, negative spiral things that can sometimes happen and have happened in our district for unfortunate reasons. But going forward into the new year, very glad to have you here. One of the things that really helped me in terms of choosing you was that you really, from the very interview, from the very start, you were talking about, reaching back to what our vision is, what our goals are within our district. That is just what was mentioned for Dr. LeClaire. It's the same thing that you mentioned in your interview. It's like, that is the leadership, that is the first step, the foundation upon which the leadership should be moving forward from. So I know that you've already read those. I know you've already looked at those. But keep bringing them forward and using that as the guidepost for yourself into this year, and highlighting that for people who may not know that or may not have looked to those documents. I think, again, that's part of that communication thing. We do have a vision. We do have a direction as a district. Let's make sure everybody in our community understands that and sees how great we're doing in achieving it. So that's what I would add. Thank you.
Thank you. I do. I like Marin. I think the discussion about family engagement, student engagement, kind of trying to sort of see what our enrollment is looking like, and kind of figuring out a way to get folks more interested in choicing in or staying in. I think those are all important. Another thing, I don't know if this like would fit into a superintendent goal, or if this is something we need to look at up on school committee first, but I was going through the policy manual the other night, and I was just wondering, like, has there, probably not because of the pandemic. I'm wondering if we've looked recently at student discipline, which includes, suspension and possibly seclusion during the school day. If we've actually looked at that recently and sort of seen where we are compared to other districts and kind of what our current practices are, in our policies. I'm just asking because I know that DESE had that advisory last year around restraint and seclusion for students with disabilities. And so I'd like to just look a little at that and kind of see where we're headed, and if we're kind of headed in a direction of exceeding that recommendation, which I would hope that we would be. But then also just I feel like one of the things that we've experienced this year, since everybody's been back to school, is that students students at every level are kind of experiencing more dysregulation in terms of their conduct during the school day and also outside of school. And I think that speaks to a lot of kind of social and emotional needs that we weren't able to address during the pandemic. Not just Easthampton. I think when I say we, I mean like we as all adults, the world, we're not able to address that for any of our kids to the degree that they needed it. And so I'd like to just look at how we're handling student discipline, making sure that it's trauma informed, kind of making sure that we are using best practices that were aligned with those DESE recommendations on restraint and seclusion, and kind of how we're supporting students and where there are opportunities for us to grow and put in more supports as well.
I would jump in. It's definitely a lot of what is on my mind has been said around trying to sort of rebuild trust within the community. I feel like the school committee has a pretty rough reputation right now, and there's a lot of divisiveness in this community. Polarization seems to have really taken root, and in our own way, there's a culture war battling here that's real hot and heavy, and it would be really helpful to find creative and healing ways to try to support families to come together. I don't know if it's like listening sessions or if it's, I don't know exactly what it is. Hopefully we could talk about this more, but just chances to bring people together and hope, and maybe it's emphasizing some of these positive things that you said, Maren. Like for instance, I went to the ELF showcase. I think it happened last month, and it was like a total battery recharge. The ELF is the Easthampton Learning Foundation. They fund these educational programs that teachers propose in the schools, and it was just like dazzling and it like really exciting to see. And it made me feel like, oh wait, there's a ton of stuff happening beyond all the noise. There's like this incredible energy here. So anything that we can do to like really prop that up and encourage more of that, I think would be fantastic. There are things like within the schools themselves, like Mountain View had its first year, and I know in a lot of ways it was a successful year and a lot of people made it through, but I think a lot of people were very exhausted and like truly drained. And along the way, I think there's a lot of things that have to be like addressed and thought about. And I say this with like total love and respect for the people running that building, because it has been a very big challenge of a year. But I would love to just encourage a kind of team building or like one of the things I heard was that like a lot some of the leaders in Mountain View, are concerned about what next year will bring, and they're concerned about maybe a lot of turnover within the district. And so I think like going in and giving them time to talk about what they're doing and really hearing what they're after and what they're working on, and listening to them would be really helpful in easing some of their anxieties that might be happening. But then there were other issues too, like there was a lot of talk from parents this year about bullying happening, like within classrooms, within bathrooms, on the buses. Like there seems to be a real rise in serious bullying happening in our schools, and it's something that like people sort of talk about, but it's not being talked about, I don't think, nearly enough. And I almost think that we need like a comprehensive initiative in this district to really try to get at it. I don't know if we have the staff or what, but I think there's some serious problems happening on that level. Similarly, there's been a series of racist issues happening within the buildings that are concerning. Casual racism, sort of in a way that is, I don't quite understand what's going on, and I would love for there to be a bit more of an investigation about kind of, and I mean that like just with, again, with just listening, what is going on, to try to understand that. And then also like tech issues are real big and growing ever bigger. I'm thinking about obviously AI. I don't know what that really plays. I don't know what AI is going to do in our high school, say, for I don't know what role it's playing. I'd love to have a kind of summit on ChatGPT and how it plays in our school, because it's already, I'm at HCC and it's alive and well at HCC, and it's a problem that we don't really have answers for yet. So I do think that as a district, we need to start really tackling that and figuring out what that might mean. That's a big one. And then just general digital literacy is also a really big concern for a lot of parents. My son's in the 4th grade, but even last year, 3rd grade and 2nd grade before that, it's like parents are already talking about like, how do our kids understand the landscape, the digital landscape? You know, the kids, like, and this isn't just video games. It's, you know, it's YouTube is its own kind of like, you know, it's really kind of a scary place sometimes for a lot of parents. So how do we incorporate educating our kids about what's going on in the digital world, both like in their lives and maybe also in school? I know that Mountain View has some really great like maker spaces, and I think it'd be really cool to put those things to use even a little bit more. I think that's about it. Supporting teachers for sure. We have these unbelievable educators here who are professionals. They're trained and they're phenomenally dedicated to what's going on here. And I know a lot of them came out of this year struggling a little bit. And I just want to, if we can find ways to give them some support and let them know that they're seen and cared about, I think that is a huge deal. And last, my little pet project is like the MCAS. Like if we can talk about that a little bit. I know Northampton has done some things to raise questions about what MCAS means to their district, and I'm wondering if we could kind of have that conversation too, perhaps. But I'd love to talk more. You know, like maybe we find some.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say, in regards to the MCAS, I think we should talk about. We should schedule a policy subcommittee meeting.
Let's go.
And start with that, because I think we have kind of a map, essentially, especially, you know, with the Thrive Amendment. So anyway, we can get back to that later, but I wanted to jump in before I forgot.
Thank you.
Megan?
I just wanted to add on, I forgot on my list here that the other group that I would love to see working in and getting the communication is students, what, you know, their voices, what they're thinking about, giving them agency over their experience. We've talked about that before, but I wanted to just loop that in too.
I would love to just add to that as well, because that's on my list too. Getting a little bit more of a robust student presence within our meetings has been something that I've been looking forward for, and student government at the high school is active, but we haven't really connected yet. And it would be great to do that.
So a lot of the items on my agenda are done by everybody else, which is great. But a couple of things I just wanted to piggyback on. In your interview, you talked a lot about connecting with students and teachers and programs and coming back and being involved and seen in the building. And that's part of what I thought was really exciting. And I'm hoping that you know, is something that you can start right from the beginning. I do think teachers and staff and kids benefit from being able to see their superintendent and talking about the things that are on their mind, good and bad. And I loved the idea of parent forums. You had talked about that. And that is something that, yes, it's been crazy times, but that is something that we had wanted to begin and really strengthen. So I love the idea of doing that. And the other thing that I know you're only here for a year, but you threw out some really good ideas about preparing our high school students for post-secondary life. And I loved the ideas. I'm a special ed teacher that does transition goals for my high school students. So we're always looking for opportunities for those kids to start to connect before they graduate. And I loved the ideas you had about internships and dual enrollment. So any impact that you can have to help all of our students have those opportunities to connect and to get excited about future careers before they graduate. I would really like to see that part really strengthened. Other than that, I'm just looking forward to balance, expertise, calm. You also seem very unflappable. And I'm looking for, I'm thinking that I'm feeling really positive about the year. I think it's going to be really exciting. But this whole communication and these opportunities for students, high school students, I do know that in the past we had more opportunities. When my kids were in high school in Easthampton, then, there were a few more opportunities. I'd like to see us get back to them. And I think that's possible. COVID changed a lot, but, this is regrowth time. So that's my hope, is that we can expand on that, all those training opportunities. So other than that, I don't have anything to add because I think we did a nice job covering all the bases. Is there anything you'd like to say before we go on?
Yes, I'd love to. First of all, for the last 6 days, I spent time getting to know the district. I have met with everybody in the central office. Also met the principals, spent time both in the middle, the elementary school, the summer school, and today at the high school. Really trying to, learn as much as I can about, what are the great things that are going on, and also, what do each of those people think are some things that they need help in. If I might be able to help them do. We did talk the high school about the early college connection today, and how we would like to, investigate that. I have some contacts that had already contacted me regarding it, so we're going to move forward on investigating that and see if we can get that at least planned. Also, I have to say the central office staff are very talented. I'm sad that Sarah's leaving also. We've had, several great conversations about special ed and, meeting the needs of the children. We did also talk about the social emotional challenges and how to keep kids engaged in high school and in all their classrooms. So we talked about ESL and how we're going to address that challenge this year. And we do have a meeting with Maren on Thursday to continue talking about that. And did talk about the budget and some of the things, the budget. I have to say Nick's done a great job with the budget and, closing up this year and entering next year. Maybe some of the things that we're thinking about might be future additions for staff in order to meet the needs of the students, and how to go about doing all that and working, very collaboratively with the school committee as well. Since both the city side and the school side in the same building, it offers a lot of opportunity for us also to work closely together to provide what we need for the students. So I'm looking forward to doing that. So it's been a great 6 days. I have to say it is a really nice district. I feel fortunate that I'm going to get to work here this year and to work with all of you and to work with a very talented staff that you have both in the district office and on the school level.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So now we are going to open this up for public comment. I've got 15 minutes. Oh, Mary, you raised your hand. Did I miss you?
Hey, Cindy, I thought it'd be helpful just to remind us all too, just to throw out there, if we don't have enough change going on too, that just as a reminder for everybody that this is an election year. and that we hope that some of our parents and community members who are excited to work with this school district and really sort of helping us continue to stay focused on our students and on our teachers and supporting that and achieving the best goals we can, that they should be thinking about running for election this fall. So it's another added twist to this year, and hope we can get some really great candidates running this year.
All right. So now we're going to open it up to public speak. If there's anybody who would like to talk, please indicate. And you'll have 3 minutes. We'll ask just that you say who you are, and keep it to 3 minutes. Just heard the computer do something, but I don't see anybody. Okay. Going once, going twice. I'll leave it open. Okay. Seeing nobody else, nobody who wants to talk, I'm going to close it in about 2 seconds. So if you do want to say anything, please do so now. Sarah raised her hand. Sarah, I was hoping you'd raise your hand. So go ahead, Sarah.
I just wanted to say thank you for all of your kind words. I just sent you all an email. It was really, really touching what you had to say. I particularly am grateful that my guidepost of always keeping our students at the forefront of every conversation and every decision was evident to all of you, and I hope evident to the community. It's been an amazing 26 years as teacher, and then I was a coordinator for 10, and I've been director for 8. It was a very difficult decision to leave. I think it will offer me some work-life balance that I desperately need after finally getting my kids off to college. And I am tremendously proud of the work that we do in Easthampton. I did some interviews today. I'm trying to get some key people in place before I go. And I'm always excited to talk about our, diversity, equity, and inclusion work that we do here. And it's just, we started under Superintendent Follansby, and then continued under Dr. Leclerc, that keeping equity, looking through a lens of equity at every single decision we had to make. So I've learned a lot, and I'm excited to move on to DESE, to my role at DESE, where they're really shifting their focus to, not that they didn't before, but really wearing those equity glasses when they're making decisions. I will be the supervisor of the Public School Monitoring Office for Western Mass, which means I'll be responsible for supervising the team that ensures that school districts are in compliance with special education and civil rights. So I'll be supervising Easthampton. So I'll be back around in a few years at the next, time that we get this year's, our school system, because I'll probably always be mine, gets monitored. So I'm just eternally grateful for the opportunities, and I will certainly miss the community very much. So thank you again for your kind words. It's been a tremendous honor and privilege and pleasure.
Thank you. Anybody else before we close public comment? All right, I'm going to close the public comment now. All right. Okay, now we have a long list just to approve. Bear with us as we go through our matters for action. Have them all queued up, Megan?
I got them queued up. All right. I move to approve the school payroll dated 6/15/2023 in the amount of $636,437.65.
I second that.
Okay, Sarah?
Sarah Hunter, yes.
Megan?
Megan Harvey, yes.
Maren?
Maren Goldstein, yes.
Mayor LaChapelle,
Mayor LaChapelle, yes.
Ben,
Ben Hersey, yes.
and Cindy Kuzensky, yes.
This is such a different flow from doing it in person. I just
Uh-huh.
I remember how we used to do it. So
I move to approve the accounts payable authorization for payment dated 6/15/2023 in the amount of $371,120.90.
I second that motion.
Sarah,
Sarah Hunter, yes.
Megan,
Megan Harvey, yes.
Maren,
Maren Goldstein, yes.
Mayor,
Mayor LaChapelle, yes.
Ben,
Ben Hersey, yes.
and Cindy Kuzensky, yes.
I move to approve the school payroll dated 6/29/2023 in the amount of $582,744.44.
Second.
Okay. He was waiting for you.
I know.
Okay, so-
I thought that
I can share it. I don't have to be the one that does it.
Sarah,
Sarah Hunter, yes.
Megan,
Megan Harvey, yes.
Maren,
Maren Goldstein, yes.
Mayor LaChapelle,
Mayor LaChapelle, yes.
Ben,
Ben Hersey, yes.
Cindy Kuzensky, yes.
I move to approve the school payroll dated 6/29/2023 in the amount of $587,999.48.
I second that.
Sarah,
Sarah Hunter, yes.
Megan Harvey, yes.
Maren Goldstein, yes.
Mayor LaChapelle,
Mayor LaChapelle, yes.
Ben,
Ben Hersey, yes.
and Cindy Kuzensky, yes.
I move to approve the accounts payable authorization for payment dated 6/29/2023 in the amount of $734,957.64.
I'll second that.
Sarah,
Sarah Hunter, yes.
Megan,
Megan Harvey, yes.
Maren Goldstein, yes.
Mayor LaChapelle, yes.
Ben Hersey, yes.
Cindy Kuzensky, yes.
I move to approve the minutes of the May 8th, 2023 school committee work session.
I'll second that.
Sarah,
Sarah Hunter, abstain.
Megan,
Harvey, yes.
Maren Goldstein, yes.
Mayor
Mayor,
LaChapelle, yes.
Ben Hersey, yes.
and Cindy Kuzensky, yes.
I move to approve the minutes of March 28th, 2023 regular meeting.
Second that.
Sarah,
Sarah Hunter, abstain.
Megan Harvey, yes.
Maren Goldstein, yes.
Mayor LaChapelle, yes.
Ben Hersey, yes.
Cindy Kuzensky, yes.
I move to approve the executive session minutes from June 19th, 2023.
Second.
Sarah Hunter, yes.
Megan Harvey, yes.
Maren Goldstein, yes.
Mayor LaChapelle, yes.
Ben Hersey, yes.
Cindy Kuzensky, yes.
I move to approve the regular and executive session minutes of the June 12th, 2023 meeting.
Second that.
Sarah,
Sarah Hunter, yes.
Megan Harvey, yes.
Maren Goldstein, yes.
Mayor LaChapelle, yes.
Ben Hersey, yes.
Cindy Kuzensky, yes.
I move to approve the executive session minutes of the May 8th, 2023 meeting.
I wasn't here for that.
I'll second it.
Okay. Sarah,
Sarah Hunter, abstain.
Megan Harvey, yes.
Maren Goldstein, yes.
Mayor LaChapelle, yes.
Ben Hersey, yes.
and Cindy Kuzensky, yes.
I move to approve the executive session minutes of the May 16th, 2023 meeting.
I second that.
Sarah,
Sarah Hunter, abstain.
Megan Harvey, yes.
Maren Goldstein, yes.
Mayor LaChapelle, yes.
Ben Hersey, yes.
and Cindy Kuzensky, yes.
I move to approve the regular session minutes of May 23rd, 2023 meeting.
I'll second that.
Sarah,
Sarah Hunter, abstain.
Megan Harvey, yes.
Maren Goldstein, yes.
Mayor LaChapelle, yes.
Ben Hersey, yes.
and Cindy Kuzensky, yes.
I move to approve the regular session minutes of June 3rd, 2023 meeting.
I'll second that.
Sarah?
I'm trying to remember if I was there for that one. I don't think I was. So Sarah Hunter abstained.
Megan Harvey, yes.
Maren Goldstein, yes.
Mayor LaChapelle, yes.
Ben Hersey, yes.
Cindy Kuzensky, yes.
I move to approve the regular session minutes of June 5th, 2023 meeting.
I'll second that.
Sarah Hunter abstain.
Megan Harvey, yes.
Maren Goldstein, yes.
Mayor LaChapelle, yes.
Ben Hersey, yes.
And Cindy Kuzensky, yes. So before we go on, you might want to change that, Sarah, the June 3rd and June 5th regular session, I believe, was the interviews that we had for interim superintendent.
Oh, okay. Yes,
And-
then can I change both of those then?
Yes.
I'm like literally searching through my email because my
Yeah.
work computer is off and that's where my calendar is. And I'm
Yeah.
trying to see when the last time someone emailed me
I appreciate
before I was
that.
on the school committee was. So
So regular session, June 3rd, and,
Yeah.
Okay, and regular session, June 5th.
yeah,
Okay,
that makes sense because yes, now I remember.
okay.
Thank you.
3 more, Megan.
So for the next one, the date is listed as May 9th, and I'm curious if we are approving the June 9th minutes.
Sue,
Based on the order and what we've done, but
I'm looking.
I'm looking, hold on.
take your time.
We did have a school committee on May 9th.
Oh, we did. Didn't we also on June 9th? Or am I making that up?
It's a good possibility that it was both.
Okay.
No, we did not have a June 9th meeting.
I'm thinking of June 12th.
Yes, you're thinking of June
So
12th.
it's May
But we did
9th.
have a May 9th.
Okay. So here we go. I move to approve the regular session minutes of the May 9th, 2023 meeting. Thank you for
I'll second that.
Sarah
Okay,
Hunter abstain.
Megan Harvey, yes.
Maren Goldstein, yes.
Mayor LaChapelle, yes.
Ben Hersey, yes.
And Cindy Kuzensky, yes.
I move to approve the executive session minutes of December 20th, 2022 meeting.
I'll second that.
Sarah Hunter abstain.
Megan Harvey, yes.
Maren Goldstein, yes.
Mayor LaChapelle, yes.
Ben Hersey, yes.
And Cindy Kuzensky, yes.
Last one. Here you go. Move to approve the executive session minutes of the December 27th, 2022 meeting.
I'll second that.
Sarah,
Sarah Hunter abstain.
Megan Harvey, yes.
Maren Goldstein, yes.
Mayor LaChapelle, yes.
Ben Hersey, yes.
and Cindy Kuzensky, yes. Okay. So the next thing just to announce is that our next meeting will be July 31st, Monday, July 31st. And then our next school committee meetings, I'm going to read off the dates just so people can put them in their calendars. August 22nd, September 12th, October 10th, October 24th, November 14th, and December 12th. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Wait, before we do that, I just have a question. So when Ben and Laura and I need to have a policy subcommittee meeting. So do we schedule that now or should we,
No.
because Laura's not here. So we should.
So you should contact each other and then post a meeting.
Okay.
And then you'll be able to report out. And if you have it before July 31st, you'll be able to let me know and we'll put it on the agenda so you can report out at that time.
That's what I was hoping for, is if we can have it before then and then report out and do like a first reading and then we can all vote on it in August. So, all right, cool.
And there should also be an election of the chair, right? So
That was my question.
Yes.
just by the
You
three
also-
of you.
You also
Okay.
need to include me on the email so that I can keep track of things and know when your meetings are, please.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, so
And if
that
there's
is
any
the first-
questions about, part of the chair is also announcing those meetings with an agenda to the city to be able to post on the website and stuff like that. So if anybody has questions about that, feel free to reach out to me and I can help with that. So
Sounds good.
or me. So again, That is your first order of business, is when the three of you get together to choose a chair. All right. So now do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Otherwise, we could stay here all night. Do we have a second?
Maren,
I
this
can
is yours.
second my own motion, people.
I will second that motion.
Okay. Sarah,
Sarah Hunter, good night.
Megan,
Harvey, good night.
Maren
Maren.
Goldstein, good night.
Mayor LaChapelle, good night.
Ben Hersey, good night.
and Cindy Kwasinski, good night. Good night, everybody, and thank you for attending.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.